You've been sold a lie. An enticing lie, wrapped in images of pristine beaches and swaying hammocks. The lie of absolute passive income. The notion that you can build something once, then sit back and watch the money roll in indefinitely, without ever lifting another finger. That's false. And this illusion is holding you back from true financial freedom. But stick with me, because in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to tell you a story, inspired by real events, that will completely shatter this myth. I'm going to reveal the nature of active investment that everyone overlooks, that secret ingredient without which any passive income venture is doomed to fail. Together, we'll explore how to move from the dream of total passivity to the reality of a smart system that works for you. It's not a magic formula, it's a new philosophy. Get ready to shift your perspective. Chapter 1: Construction, or the Invisible Initial Effort. Allow me to introduce Leo. Like many, Leo was tired of his 9-to-5 job. He longed for independence. Browsing the internet, he was bombarded with the idea of passive income. The ultimate promise. After weeks of research, he found his holy grail, creating a portfolio of small niche websites on very specific topics. The plan seemed perfect. He would write articles, place affiliate links, and every click, every sale, would earn him a small commission. Once the sites were up, Google's search engine would send him free traffic, and money would roll in, whether he was at the office, on vacation, or asleep. The beginning of passivity. So he dove in headfirst. But what the dream peddlers forget to mention is the iceberg. Leo only saw the tip, the website running itself. He quickly discovered what lay beneath the surface. For 6 months, his evenings and weekends vanished. He spent hundreds of hours doing keyword research, analyzing the competition, learning the basics of SEO, training on WordPress, writing or ordering dozens upon dozens of articles. He had to learn design, plugin integration, and how to set up tracking systems. It was a full-time job on top of his full-time job. This initial effort, this active investment in time and energy, is the first barrier that the passive myth hides from you. Nothing comes from nothing. Before you can even hope for the slightest passivity, there's an intense building phase, a work debt you have to pay up front. Leo paid that debt, and finally, his 5 sites were online. They started generating a few euros a day. He thought the hardest part was over. He was wrong. Chapter 2: Maintenance, the Silent Guardian. Leo was proud. He had built his little cash machine. He refreshed his stats 50 times a day, watching with satisfaction as commissions rolled in. 3 euros, then 5, then 15 euros a day. He started to relax, thinking his work was done. That's when the second layer of the myth crumbled. One morning, he woke up to find his previous day's earnings at 0. Panicked, he checked his sites. One of them was inaccessible. After 2 hours of stress, he understood. An automatic update from his hosting provider had conflicted with an essential plugin. The site was broken. He spent his day contacting technical support, searching forums for solutions. That was just the beginning. A week later, another site saw its traffic halve. The reason? A Google algorithm update. His content, once highly ranked, was now invisible. He had to spend weeks relearning the new rules, updating his articles, and rethinking his strategy. Passive income isn't a garden you plant once and it blooms forever. It's a garden that requires constant upkeep. You have to weed out technical bugs, water your content to keep it fresh, and protect your plants from unforeseen storms like algorithm changes or the arrival of new competitors. This maintenance isn't spectacular, it's silent, invisible, but it's vital. It's an active job of monitoring and reacting. Without this constant tending, your digital asset will degrade and die. Leo learned this the hard way. But that's not all, because reacting isn't enough. That's where the third level of active investment comes in. Chapter 3: Optimization, the Endless Race. After several months, Leo's income stabilized. It was good, but it wasn't yet the financial freedom he dreamed of. He realized that to grow his income, he couldn't just keep his sites alive. He had to make them better, more performant. He entered the era of active optimization. He started running tests. Could changing the color of a button increase the click-through rate by 0.5%? Could changing an article's title help it gain 2 spots in search results? He spent hours analyzing data, comparing affiliate offers to find the one that paid a few cents more per sale. He rewrote old articles to add more recent information. Every small improvement required time and thought. It was like being a Formula One mechanic. The car runs, but to win the race, every adjustment counts. The myth tells you that your asset works for you. The truth is, you have to constantly work on your asset to keep it competitive. The digital world moves at breakneck speed. What worked 6 months ago might be obsolete today. Optimization isn't an option, it's a necessity for survival and growth. It's a continuous active investment in strategy and analysis. Leo was now a builder, caretaker, and mechanic. But he was still unaware of the most costly investment. And here's the most important thing, what no one ever dares to tell you. Chapter 4, Emotional Investment, the Mental Toll. Money, time, skills, that's one thing. But the deepest and most active investment Leo made every day was emotional. When you have a salaried job, if the company goes under, you're worried, but there's a safety net. When your income depends on a system you've created, your mental state is directly tied to its performance. Leo would wake up at night to check his stats on his phone. A 10% drop in traffic could ruin his day. He lived with a constant mental burden. Are my sites still online? Is Google going to change its rules again tomorrow? Is this competitor going to overtake me? This anxiety, this doubt, this need to stay constantly vigilant, that's work. Exhausting work. You're never truly on vacation. Even on the beach, part of your brain is monitoring the system. This active investment in mental energy is the most insidious part of the myth. You're sold peace of mind, but delivered a new form of mental prison if you're not prepared. Your asset doesn't just demand your time, it demands your attention, your peace of mind. It's a steep price to pay. Exhausted, Leo thought he had found the ultimate solution, the escape hatch to true passivity. Chapter 5, Delegation, the False Passive. He told himself, if I don't want to do the work anymore, I'll pay someone to do it. So he hired a virtual assistant halfway across the world to manage the basic maintenance and optimization of his sites. On paper, it was liberation. He would finally achieve pure passive income. He would become the conductor who no longer needed to play an instrument. But reality quickly caught up with him. Delegating isn't erasing work, it's transforming it. Leo had to spend dozens of hours training his assistant, creating detailed procedures for each task. He had to check their work, correct their errors, and answer their questions. He transitioned from technician to manager. He was no longer managing websites, he was managing a human being. He had to handle payroll, motivation, and communication. One day, his assistant made a misstep and deleted part of a site. Leo had to spend his night restoring everything. Delegation reduced his operational work but created a new type of active work, management. He had simply exchanged one set of tasks for another. It was less time-consuming, but it demanded different skills and even greater responsibility. Absolute passivity remained a mirage. It was at this point, on the verge of giving up, that Leo had his biggest revelation. Chapter 6, The Revelation, the Asset is the System. One evening, looking at a diagram of all his processes, content creation, maintenance, optimization, managing his assistant, he understood. He had been looking at everything from the wrong angle. From the beginning, he thought the asset was his websites. He was wrong. The asset, the true asset that generates income, isn't the thing itself, it's the system he built around it. The website is just one brick. The system is the complete architecture. His training procedures, his maintenance checklists, his analysis spreadsheets, his communication methods with his assistant, that was his true asset. And building, maintaining, and improving this system is a deeply active job. Your income isn't passive because the asset is. It's passive because the system you've built to manage it is so efficient that it requires less and less of your direct intervention. The asset is the system. Passivity isn't the absence of work, it's the fruit of smart work that creates leverage. Instead of working to earn €1, you work to build a machine that, once launched, can generate €10 with the same effort. But the machine itself needs a pilot, a strategist, an architect. And that role is always active. This revelation changed everything for Leo, and it can change everything for you. Chapter 7, True Freedom, Redefining Passive. Leo stopped chasing the ghost of zero work. He accepted the truth, the real goal isn't passivity, but freedom. The freedom to choose his work. So he focused his active energy not on operational tasks, but on strategy and strengthening his system. He created procedures so clear that any assistant could be up and running in a few hours. He set up automatic alerts for technical issues, instead of checking everything manually. He now spent only a few hours a week on his project. But those few hours were crucial. They were high-value hours, where he made strategic decisions. Should I sell this site to invest in another? Should I explore a new income stream? Should I hire a second person? He was no longer an employee of his own system, he was its CEO. He had succeeded in decoupling his time from his income. He could earn money while sleeping, not because he was doing nothing, but because his system, actively conceived and managed by him, was working for him. The goal isn't zero work. The goal is chosen work. It's the freedom to decide when, where, and on what you allocate your energy. That's true wealth. In conclusion, forget the myth of absolute passivity. It's a trap that leads to frustration and failure. True passive income, sustainable income, is the result of a continuous active investment that you might be overlooking. It's the massive initial effort to build. It's the constant maintenance to protect. It's strategic optimization to grow. It's the emotional investment to endure. And above all, it's the continuous intellectual work to build, guide, and improve a system. The goal isn't to do nothing, but to build something that amplifies your efforts. True financial freedom isn't about sipping cocktails while watching transfers rain down from the sky. It's about being the architect of your income machine, a role that demands vision, strategy, and active engagement. It's harder than the myth suggests, but it's infinitely more rewarding and, crucially, it's the only path that truly works. Don't forget to subscribe.